Many great travel stories are set in this city. This is the story of three travelers, Emma, Catie, and Arizona, American college students from the University of Kentucky who are spending the semester living and learning here.
Hi, how are ya?
Got up before the sunrise today, and it's okay, like really pretty and calm in the mornings.
Everything is so diverse and there's just so much to do.
This is Transformative Travel, exploring London. Arizona, Catie, and Emma are among the 40,000 American college students who study abroad in the United Kingdom during a typical year. My wife, Ellen, has brought along 35 students of her own from Center College in Danville, Kentucky. With so many American students in London, Arizona, Catie, and Emma easily make new friends. Some of the time with their new friends is spent traveling, since it's so easy to get from London to other European capitals. While it's exciting to explore with new friends, most of our days are more routine.
Yep, we are just walking to the tube station right now and going to class.
London quickly becomes our home.
I feel very comfortable here.
When I've been traveling and I'm headed back to London, it feels like I'm headed home.
And feeling at home leads to mundane experiences.
Day 4.5 of being sick.
I have a cold and that's how my day is going.
Just ready to be healthy again.
But illnesses pass quickly.
But I am up and alive again.
Thankfully, because in London, history is happening.
So I'm over by Parliament in London right now, and I decided I would check out Parliament today because today is March 29th, which is the day that Brexit was supposed to take place, and the UK was to leave the European Union. And so because of just problems in Parliament and they couldn't reach a deal, Brexit was delayed. So I figured I would check it out today, and there's just so much going on here. There's so many people here. It's crazy. It's so interesting.
A geopolitical shift in Europe is on the horizon. Protests and counter-protests are common leading up to March 29 and afterward as the Brexit withdrawal agreement continues to be contested.
It's definitely like all anyone talks about. Any person you talk to has a strong opinion on it. So it's very easy to get educated on the topic because everybody is very willing to share their opinion.
And seeing like there's signs everywhere, like people put stickers everywhere like anti-Brexit or like they want it to happen, so you see like both sides of it everywhere.
We are, along with the rest of the country, a little anxious.
He said like, the United Kingdom could shut down tonight, but you'll be fine. And we were all like,
Yeah, that was one of our first classes, so that was like before we knew anything about it, so that probably scared us.
But they have each other to lean on, and at the Princess Elizabeth House, with other college students from around the United States, they make friends for life.
So we are sitting on the steps in front of the how do you say it? Sukkah. Alright, we are sitting in front of the steps at the Sukkah right now. And we had to walk up a ton of stairs to get here, but it was so worth it. This has definitely been my favorite moment of Europe so far. It is just such a breathtaking view, and the sun is about to set, so just wanted to keep you guys updated.
sitting there with Arizona and Claire. Like, it was the people that made the experience, and it just made me reflect on my trip so much more. And obviously it was such a beautiful view and nothing like I had ever seen before, but the people made it so much more worthwhile. But I also think study abroad kind of sets you up to be more willing to get deeper with friends because you're spending so much time with them and you're kind of sheltered in this place and you want to travel with people and all of that. And so Anna and I have done a lot of trips together. She's been on every trip I've gone on so far, and we've done a lot just ourselves. And that gives us a lot of time to just have really deep and meaningful conversations.
We're in Monte Carlo. Yes. So we love Monaco so far. It is absolutely incredible. We are about 1 minute away from where we're sleeping, and this is our view. Unreal.
I have a really hard time sort of like staying in the moment, I think, and just like being grateful for where I am. It's been good for me sort of to be over here and realize that no matter where you are, like if you're not grateful about it, like you're never going to be satisfied.
I mean, I like going out and having fun with my friends, but not all the time. She'll either want to go do brunch or go walk around somewhere, go to the markets, and I'm always so thankful for the experience after. Okay, so, hey guys. It is 10:30 on a Wednesday night, and Anna has dragged me out with her from my bed to go sing at a train station. So, updates to follow.
That night was just really special, so it meant a lot that Catie got herself out of bed so late and came with me. But
really realizing that who you're with and what your relationship is changes the dynamic of the trip completely. I'm obviously going to remember the trips we've gone on and just all the memories we've made, but I think the thing that I'll take away the most and look back on is probably our friendship.
I'm gonna cry. We're too sentimental for this.
I don't know, I just feel up until this past semester I haven't really been super authentic with myself. Reality is really stretched with social media and the presence it has currently. Multiple times I'm I should probably just go off social media for a while, because you're constantly being fed stuff to you, places to go, things to eat, things to buy, and it kind of alters your mindset to want what the entire world wants. And that's another thing to build off the authenticity topic, is that what I want might not even be authentic to myself because I'm constantly seeing it blasted on social media. And I think that has an effect on traveling and seeing things, because we want to go to these places because obviously we want to, but there's behind that want, there's the expectations of what it's going to be like because of all the experiences we've seen other people have. And it's honestly really it's affected me a ton while I've been traveling, because I'm oh, I have to get a good Instagram picture. It's not stressful, but it's just disheartening to me because I'm letting myself be so affected by it. Got a great view going on over here. And that's it. No, actually it's not it. I want to talk about the breakfast I had this morning. I have a theory that UK, quote-unquote, American pancakes are better than American pancakes at home. 1, they're fluffier. 2, they're sweeter. 3, they taste better. You heard it here first, folks. I will not stop eating pancakes until I get home. I am so obsessed with the fashion scene in London. I literally shop 3 times a week, if not more. And it's just so cool because it really is a fashion hub of the world.
Catie has more than a casual interest in fashion. Her major at the University of Kentucky is merchandising, apparel, and textiles.
I think fashion is always changing, and it's just so cool because it truly is for everybody. I mean, everybody wears clothes, whether you like it or not. And I love the dynamic that it allows people to really just express themselves. Everybody has their own style, and I love just finding little statement pieces that you can throw together with any outfit, and it just makes it makes you stand out as a person. My favorite shopping areas in London have to be right here in Covent Garden. Oxford Street is probably where I go the most just because of the amount of stores they have, but also Harrods. I'm sorry, Mom, and I'm sorry, Dad, but you gotta do what you gotta do. It'll pay off in the long run, I think.
Studying retail and fashion means more than just shopping. One of Catie's assignments is to interview a retail economist at the British Retail Consortium.
It's a trading organization for the retail industry. Retail had a few tough years already. Intense competition of depressed demand and of technological shift taking place.
How are retailers in the UK reinventing themselves to deal with this shift?
There's this restructuring of the business where retailers are reassessing the need they have for physical space. Now what retailers are trying to do is to meet their customers wherever they are. The shop these days is also a fulfillment center, as in one could order online and go and collect in the store, or could go to the store and order something that would be then delivered at home.
Some places have personal shopping as well. They have someone do it for you in the store, so strange to me, but it's so cool.
One way to compete is to come up with new services. There are new niches which are being discovered by retailers. This transformation, I personally find it very exciting, and if one is willing to adapt and to move with the pace of change, then you can be part of the transformation of the industry. And again, the industry is involved in tremendous technological development. So if you are willing to change, to adapt, to look for new ideas, to continue reinventing yourself, then it's the right place to be in.
It validated all of what I had thought was going on with the constant changing in fashion. Really like showed me how that's a global trend and not just in America.
One of the students' assignments is to design half-day excursions for the 4 of us. Their task is to discover meaning in communities that are not the typical tourist spots. Locations for these mystery excursions are selected at random. We start by cutting up a big London map into small pieces. To avoid the typical tourist spots, we remove Zone 1 from the map. The London Underground, commonly known as the Tube, is divided into 6 zones radiating from the center of London. Most London visitors don't explore beyond Zone 1. Zone 1 is London's beaten path. Zones beyond the first are more routine, a mix of everyday life with residential streets, commercial districts, and parks. But I believe hidden gems can be found in any place, if you explore. After cutting the map, Arizona, Catie, and Emma randomly select locations from the pile of pieces. These are our mystery excursion destinations.
We are going to the edge of the map.
One of our mystery excursions takes us to Gillespie Local Nature Reserve in London's Arsenal neighborhood.
Local Nature Reserve.
The 8.4-acre nature spot is tucked in between typical London terrace houses and is also situated in the shadow of the 60,000-seat Emirates Stadium, home of the Premier League's Arsenal Football Club. On TripAdvisor, Gillespie Local Nature Reserve ranks about 1,200th among the most popular things to do in London.
The randomness of it kind of added to the experience, for sure.
You can find something to do just about anywhere.
Even a randomly selected area might look like it has nothing, but if we think about it and go to the place, maybe even without a plan, just explore it.
Yeah, it was like a nice change from like the busy city life of London.
That was something that was meaningful for me in that activity.
It's definitely different than what you think you would experience in London, because obviously we're not sitting in front of Buckingham Palace right now. So it's just a different dynamic, but it was fun for sure.
While visiting the reserve, we learn about London's abundant green space. With 47% of the urban environment set apart for recreational uses or aesthetic purposes, London is the world's largest urban forest. The city has 1 tree for every resident. That's 8 million trees, more than 13,000 trees per square mile. In Zone 2, we discover a small but iconic place, the zebra crossing outside of Abbey Road Studios. All day long, tourists hoping to live their Beatles moment in the middle of the road slow down motorists. And we are no exception. Also, visitors are encouraged to leave graffiti messages on the walls. So we do. I'm always curious why more college men do not participate in education abroad or travel experiences for classes. In Transformative Travels Exploring Kentucky, our 10 travelers, all women. Why is it that more college men are not interested in courses that involve travel and time away from campus? I posed this question to some Center College men and other American students who are studying in London. According to the national trend, you guys are rarities, right? So 2-to-1 women versus men. Just in general, why do you think that is?
I know that speaking to some people that like had considered studying abroad but didn't. They didn't want to miss out of what the times they were having at center. So then I feel like that might be like a part of it. Like maybe guys are just comfortable staying in their comfort zone while they're back at home, and they don't want to like take the step to go out.
Now that I'm here, I can't see any reason why guys wouldn't be begging to go study abroad from anywhere in the United States. So it's just interesting.
Part of my personal experience in leading education abroad programs, and they're overwhelmingly women. So I've taken 29 students to France, and it'd be one guy. I took 22, 23 to Greece, and it was one guy. One time I took 22 women to Greece, and this is all who's signing up for it, all who wants to do it. You know, if there were more guys, they'd be welcome to do it, but they're just not even applying for it.
My dad studied abroad when he was in college, but my mom didn't. She often tells me like it's something that she'd always wish she'd done. That's my thing, like do it and you won't regret it. You would always be wondering, you know, what if?
What I'm figuring out here is that there's something cool in everywhere, and that everywhere really has a story that can be appreciated. And the more stories you collect, the kind of better informed your worldview is. I think in 10 years I'll remember this experience as kind of when I fell in love with traveling and when I really appreciated traveling.
I look back and I just think it was an amazing time. Very fun, meeting new people, going different places, being able to visit different countries, go to different museums, see different sites, just experience the world is something that I'm never gonna forget. My best friend from back home in Bogota, he was already here in London, so I kind of wanted to spend a semester with him. And for someone that's interested in finance like me, I think having experience working at a finance group in a financial center, of course, is always good to talk about whenever you're talking about internships or getting a job or anything career focused. I think it's going to give me an experience that I'm going to be able to leverage later on in my career. I think back on my friend group, and I think they all wanted to do it. The people who just couldn't do it just because their schedule just wouldn't allow them to. If you're doing pre-med or engineering, you would probably fall behind and end up having to do another semester. At least that was the sense I got when I was talking to a lot of my friends.
I think a lot of boys in college, this is totally a generalization, but a lot of them, I think more so than girls, just by default don't necessarily know like what they want to do or don't have like specific goals. At least a lot of the guys that I know and I'm friends with at home, the boys that I've met here are just generally speaking more like I sort of know what I want to do, or like I have a direction that I want to go in, or they're more independent overall, just less like I have to rely on my friends to make my decisions. I rely on peer pressure. No, I mean seriously, like you look at the guys here and yeah, they like make decisions with each other, but none of them came in together.
No, yeah.
You know, like I think that's a big step that most guys don't want to take. I think it just says a lot about a guy if he can leave all of his friends and be completely on his own and come to a different country, just like it does girls. But most people that I know who study abroad are girls. And so, I mean, you see that in the program here. There's like so many more girls than guys. I don't know. I just think it's like really cool for me to see guys step out of their comfort zone. They know what they want. They know who they are. They know where they're going. They're independent. They're cool, self-assured, self-reliant. Sometimes that's problematic, but they're independent and I like them.
It's not easy to go abroad. It's not easy to spend that semester abroad. You know that, right?
Right.
It takes a special kind of student to do that. I guess I knew that, but I don't know if I had witnessed that or paid attention really to the kind of students who are spending their semester abroad, and they're really special students.
I've kind of thought about that recently, like the fact that it's so easy to click with somebody while you're abroad or even in Kentucky, because we all had the initial interest in traveling in general, and I really do think there are like certain personality traits that people have that maybe it comes from traveling or traveling makes them that way in a sense.
Some of those character traits that you observe in people like yourself.
Well, you definitely have to be pretty outgoing, because if you can be an introverted person and just want to be in your room all the time but just be in another country doing that, but I think you have to be outgoing enough to interact with people while you're here to get your full experience.
It takes a lot of courage to do that for a lot of people. Reflecting on her own education abroad experience, Arizona talks with Center College students to learn more about the meaning of spending a semester in London.
How do you think this experience will change you personally after leaving London?
I definitely think that I will be more of like a self-sufficient person. I think I've kind of in some ways like come into my own, and I'm way more comfortable being by myself and doing things alone and exploring, which I really like because I've been trying to get to that point.
I'm definitely learning to be more independent, but then also to ask questions. Like, what does this mean? How is this significant? And that's not something that I really did before. I know that like I want to be a lawyer, and so it's been really cool, especially like with our politics class, learning how the government works here, and if I do end up in politics, kind of expanding the way that I see what I can do with my future, which is pretty exciting.
So my plan is to go into teaching, and I think that the main way that it will affect me is like in the kind of thing that I want to teach and the kind of like diversity I want to pull in with literature.
10 years from now, how do you think you would reflect back on your experience here in London?
Well, I think the first word that comes to mind would probably be wild, but in several different kind of ways. So wild in that it was just like an incredible growing time, where I learned how to be an adult and what it looks like to live in a large city, but then also wild in terms of, one, the time that we're here, with everything happening politically, and just it's a crazy time to be in London, and we've seen that lots of times, and then also just in terms of like it's crazy that I had the opportunity to have spent 3 months in London, just living here, which is pretty awesome.
This is one of the first moments in college where I really feel like I'm having to be a completely grown person. I was really, really nervous until I got here. But being here is such a great experience, and it's so removed from what you usually do, not necessarily in a scary way once you get here, but in like a continually exciting way, I think.
And being able to experience life as someone who lives there is something that is just crazy, wild, you might say, and just like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
I think that I was just really impacted by the idea of that I am abroad right now, doing it way earlier than I had ever anticipated on doing it, and just how cool it is that I've been able to go to France, to Amsterdam, to Barcelona, just all these places, and like live in London while I'm still 18 is just so crazy to me for some reason. And it's just showing me that I'm capable of so much. And I like really am thankful for obviously you and the University of Kentucky for providing me this outlet. But I was just so in awe of how cool the opportunity to study abroad really is.
So we are getting a snack before we head to the airport to leave Iceland, and we just want to make a video and talk about how this has been our favorite, this is
Definitely my favorite place that I've been so far.
my favorite place that I've been as well. That's it from us vlog. See you in London.
On the next episode of Transformative Travels Exploring London, Arizona takes a solo trip to Italy to compare fashion museums in the two countries.
What have you loved about Florence so far?
While there, she meets up with another batch of University of Kentucky students on a short-term education abroad program. And we reflect on our time abroad before we head back to America.
I'm thinking about it right now. I'm literally gonna start crying. Hold on.
Plus, the travelers recap their London experience after arriving home. Next time on Transformative Travels, Exploring London.
Let's hear your thoughts about doing a TV production in London with Dr. Swanson.
I think it probably is very interesting to watch like 3 people have 3 different experiences while living in another country.
He's finding things for each of us to do, and like recording that experience just makes it that much better. And I think if we weren't here doing the production, he would also like be involved, like be that involved with us and want us to work on things like professionally or like doing things that just like that we're interested in.
I think he really does like encourage us to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone in like a not crazy, like a safe way, like not standing in front of a train, but like I think like especially like the mystery excursions that he's, you know, had us plan, like I don't think we ever would have done any of the stuff that we have done on those. And I think he's also been really accommodating with schedules, which has allowed us to like travel and do all these amazing things. And I don't know if that would have happened if he had class on like Mondays or something, or wasn't willing to change things for us.
I think it's really cool to have that like safety net, but I also think that he pushes us to do new things and have those experiences, knowing that like he'll be there to get us out of any situation that we might get put into or anything like that.
He's just been so willing to help in any situation. Like when I was sick like a few weeks ago, like I told him I wasn't gonna come to class because I was sick, and he like went out of his way. He was like, "Do you need anything? Can I get anything for you?" And like I don't know that any other professor would have done that for me. So it's just like really reassuring to have him around, and I think it adds to the experience.
He really enjoys not just us being here, but the Center College students being here too. Like I think he likes to see the differences and similarities between like our experiences. So, and like with the production, I think looking back on it later, he'll really enjoy seeing it all come together.